Former Liberal Victorian Premier Jeff Kennett is calling for the Council of the Order of Australia to rescind Daniel Andrews' King's Birthday honour. Mr Andrews, a former Labor state premier, was controversially made a companion of the Order of Australia. Mr Kennett has told Sky News at first he thought it was a joke.
I didn't believe it. I thought it was a joke. But when I looked further into it, I have come to the conclusion that the chairperson of the Council of the Order of Australia, Shelley Rees, and the Governor-General have both failed all Australians by now rewarding failure.
The decision to honour Mr Andrews sparked backlash given he imposed the world's heaviest lockdown laws during the COVID-19 pandemic, also overseeing a bungled hotel quarantine program which cost 800 lives.
And yet this is a man who passes a law which criminalises parents who pray for their children. He can say that law's for whatever he wants to say, but it doesn't change the fact it criminalises parents who pray for their own children. It's the man who votes against an amendment to require medical care to be given to babies who are born alive. So now dozens of babies are born alive in Victorian hospitals and gasp for breath until they die. He's a man who hears that Safe Schools is sending kids to swinger clubs and X-rated adult sites, and then he offers to pay them. The man whose government bans songs which glorify God after showing special religious instruction on the back door and chucking it out of schools. The man who passed a law knowing it would make a mother of 13 into a criminal for helping women outside termination clinics and saving 300 lives. The man who changed adoption so that children can be placed with motherless and fatherless homes. The man who would see religious groups stripped of their right to be religious, but maintain his own political group's right to be political. The man whose government gives masses of funding to advocacy groups and clinics, which have seen well over 1,000% increases in children presenting for gender dysphoria in the last few years. Someone tell them the problem didn't exist until they started putting the idea into kids' heads. And these are irreversible therapies and treatments. You know, kids that can't choose their own bedtime, for heaven's sake, are going and getting gender dysphoria treatment and being affirmed in the opposite sex because what they say is best. Nobody in this country is responsible for a more radical and aggressive social engineering agenda than Daniel Andrews. And I want to say to Victorians, please wake up. Please, I know a lot of you have, but some of you haven't. And I haven't even covered the crazy response to COVID, for example, the fact that you're all down there in masks and the rest of the country isn't. I haven't covered the relationship to China. I haven't done any of that. I've just talked about these faith positions primarily. But I hope that at least some of those of you who are people of faith, or who are sympathetic to people of faith, can see this much. Daniel Andrews despises what you believe. And he has a passion against it that has now driven him for years, and he's getting worse, not better. He's getting bolder, not weaker. November 2022 is the next chance to vote this man out, and you must. That's the truth about Daniel Andrews and his anti-faith agenda.